We're missing a bunch of people. How we doing? You what? Stressed? Why?
I have 2 midterms and a paper this week.
Be fine. What else you gotta do? That's it, right? Lift? That's good for you. Okay. How we doing? How we hanging in? I know everyone's tired. Doing all right? We're like hurtling towards the end of the semester. It's coming. So hang in there. Keep up. Okay. HB. That might be coming. How we doing?
Doing pretty well, sir. Yourself?
I'm good. Hey. Okay. So last week I'd given you opportunity and we'll switch them. All right. So today we're going to talk about your careers. Terrifying, right? That you're going to have one. Hopefully. Okay. So how do we do that? When I finished undergrad, it was the June of 2001, so like before 9/11. Okay? Economy's rolling, everything's good. And I kind of stretched out one last summer. Highly recommend if you can, because you never get it. Well, now I get them back, but it took like 20 years. Okay. So kind of had one last summer, but I was trying to get a job and all that good stuff. And there was a company I wanted to work for. And this was like early days of like Yahoo, which was more popular than Google, right? So not everything was online. And we had a book of lists, and I had like a physical book, and I had the general manager's name and a phone number and all that stuff. And I called him, right? Every day. If you've seen the original Wall Street, right? That's pretty much what I did, was call over and over again. You two are killing me, guys. 9:35. Start talking about Martin Luther again, Connor. Get you all pissed off. So I start calling this company, and this voicemail, right? My name's Darren Payne. I can come work for you. Blah blah blah. Every day I'm calling. Every day. Finally, I get to know the administrative assistant or the general manager I'm trying to get a hold of. Loretta, how are you? Darren Payne. Is Mr. McNamara in? Over and over. Okay. Never lost my temper. Never got mad. You guys haven't called me back. I'm awesome. No. It was like it was the first voicemail every time. My name's Darren Payne. I can talk to Mr. McNamara about working for you. Okay. She gets to know me. What?
Did you reference that you called before in those voicemails?
Yes, yeah, I would. Yeah, but essentially I was reintroducing myself. Never lost, but yeah, Darren Payne calling again, trying to reach Mr. McNamara. Okay, so I get to know her, right? And I'm Loretta, how you doing today? Oh, good, Darren. Nice to see you. He's not in, for weeks. Okay.
You get the hint, though.
Huh?
You think you get the hint?
You think, but I'm a stubborn son of a bitch. Okay, and I needed a job, right? So I'm calling, and finally she goes, okay, Darren, call tomorrow between 8 and like 8:10. Literally, right? So that's early when you're 21, okay, right? And so I may have had some fun the night before, set my alarm, clear my throat, wake up, ready to go, okay, call. Hey, Loretta, it's Darren, Mr. McNamara. Yes, Darren, hold on for a minute. 3 to 5 minutes I'm on hold, okay? Mr. McNamara comes on. Darren, be here Monday morning, 8 a.m. Yes. Shit. That was it. Be here Monday morning, 8 a.m. Click. Is this an interview? What am I doing? Okay? Weeks working on this. All right? Okay, so I'm all excited, but I don't know what I'm getting myself into. Wear a suit, tie, whatever, bring my resume, right? Show up early, get there early, Monday morning, waiting, sitting in the lobby. Everyone's very nice. Waiting for Mr. McNamara, okay? And I wait for like 15, 20 minutes, okay? I'm there a while, okay? But I'm early, being patient, all right? And he finally comes down and introduces himself. He said, sorry I'm late. I lost my best friend to cancer this weekend. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, sir. I just met who I want to work for. This is an awkward introduction, okay? The company was owned by Paul Allen. Does anybody know who that is? Paul Allen was the co-founder of Microsoft. Him and Bill Gates. He owned Portland Trail Blazers. He owned the Seattle Seahawks. He just passed away a few years ago from, I can't remember his cancer, but some disease. Finally got him, which is terrible. So he has all this cool stuff in his office, right? And all this cool sports paraphernalia, right? Amazing view of the city and everything. And we met for 30 minutes. And he spoke for 29 and a half of those minutes. He says, I don't meet anybody. I don't hire anybody. You're here because you were persistent and I'm curious of who the hell you are. Okay? And for 30 minutes, he tells me how to get a job at his company. He gives me his 2 managers' numbers, call them, tell them I told you to call, and I got hired a few weeks later. So, how can I help you guys? How can I help you get hired? What do you want to know about getting a job and landing a job, and then what? This is for you guys. Yes, sir.
What was it about that company that you wanted to work
In college, I was a radio DJ. KBVR 88.7 Corvallis, Midnight Snack. My DJ name was Special Ed. There's a movie called Can't Hardly Wait, and there's Seth Green, who's the little short actor with red hair. His name was Special K, so they called me Special D, and my buddy's more like, it's more like Special Ed. Okay. After I went to Spain and came back, I changed it to World Famous Special Ed, because I had done a term abroad. So I had to take my major was new media communication. I wanted to work in the industry, and I thought I was going to be a radio DJ. Well, you have to like grind and intern and make no money and all that stuff. So I had a degree, I had experience. They were never going to hire me as a DJ. And Mr. McNamara literally said, "You don't want to be a DJ." Eventually, they make a lot of money, but that's not very many of them. He's like, "You want to be in sales." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "That's where the money is. It's where the stability is. Go with that. That's where I see you fitting." Okay, and so I did. So it was the radio station I wanted to work at, which was hilarious because it was hip hop, and the other side of the building was AM conservative news talk. Hilarious dynamics. Okay, I met Snoop, P. Diddy, Busta Rhymes was really cool. Nate Dogg before he died, Queen Latifah, go to concerts and everything. When Snoop came through, he had an entourage, like 20 people. Everybody in the building got like a contact high. All the people on the news talk side were literally in the kitchen, like eating, because they all had the munchies without having any understanding of what was happening. It was hilarious. Okay, so it was a company, and I was calling others. I was absolutely calling others, but that was the one I was pursuing. Yeah, Connor.
So in a situation like that where you're like consistent with like one company or something, like at what point do you know you've sunk enough of your time that further pursuing is like not worth it?
So knowing when to fish or cut bait.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent question. Some point you need a job. All of you, right? So you may have the ideal company, and if you don't, that's okay. You may aerospace, nuclear,
Yeah.
nuclear. Okay. So is there a company you really want to work for?
Not particularly.
Okay. So fine. So you're checking out all of them. But if you find a few you really like, or you think you'd be a good fit or good mesh, then you need to go after those with everything you've got. In the meantime, you may get hired by a smaller engineering firm, and maybe you're not doing what you thought you would, and that's okay. Don't give up on pursuing the one you want to go after. But if you're not getting in, again, at some point you might be like, it's their loss, and I'm going to go after the other one, or I'm going to go to their competitor, right? And I'm going to try and get in there and show them you missed out on not hiring me. And I would tell you, don't burn any bridges. The reason you don't leave the nasty voicemail when they're not calling you back, because in 3 years they might. And they might be like, look, you just weren't ready. Now we want you. You went to work for Tesla. Now we'll hire you. You went to work for SpaceX, who burns through engineers. Pays them nothing to wear you out, but you put SpaceX on your resume. Then you can go wherever you want. Okay? So don't burn the bridges, even if you're frustrated or mad. Catholic.
Similar question, but more along the lines of a career in general.
Mhm.
Like, how do you differentiate between passion and not giving up? Like, you have something you seem interested in, but maybe you're like not interested in, but you don't want to give up on it. If that makes sense.
What do you mean?
So, like, if you have a career in mind,
Mm-hmm.
you're working hard towards it, but eventually you're finding out, you're feeling that you're not as motivated to pursue it. But how do you differentiate between a lack of passion versus like actually truly not wanting to do it?
That's a really good question. Who's worried about not liking their career? It's usually a fair amount of people. Even if you think you're on the right path, right? You got a lot of work to do to be a doc, right? You're gonna be in debt up to your eyeballs, okay? And then you'll be like, well, I don't want to be a physician, okay? probably going to have to ride that out a little bit, okay? At least for a while, because you've invested a lot of time and resources. This is the hard question. You're balancing, do I love doing this, or am I just doing it because of a job? Is that what you're asking? Okay. And figuring it out, like, do I keep doing this, or do I leave?
Basically, you don't want to say you're a quitter
Okay?
because you think like, oh no, I'm more interested in something else than react. Like you don't want to. Better way to say it. You don't want to say you quit on something that you were once very interested in. You
Mhm.
pursue something else.
Mm-hmm.
But you also.
There's a couple
but you
different.
want to make sure that you're switching careers because you're actually more passionate
Yeah.
about that other thing.
Okay. There's a couple ways to look at that. Everybody hear his question? Okay. It might be the company. It might be the organization you're at. Whereas, okay, this is the job I wanted. This is what I wanted to do for a living. The organization, I'm not happy. I'm not passionate. I'm not enjoying this. Before you throw in the towel completely, it might be you in the chemistry, right? It's like dating. Okay. There's, in all honesty, there's probably 100 million people on this planet that you could marry and be happy with. There's 7 billion of us. So the odds that it's just your soulmate, maybe. You might not. Did you test out 100 million people? No, because you can't swipe that fast, right? Okay. No, I just heard this the other day from Jordan Peterson, and I thought it was great in the book I'm reading right now. Okay. But it's true in a sense of sometimes it doesn't work out, even if things are good, right? So you got to figure out: am I going to work on it? Is it me? Right? Is it the organization? Is it worth saving, or is it time for a change? And the change may be the career. In your life, you will have a seismic career change, like not just different job, different company, probably 2 or 3 times. Okay, you will probably have a significant career change 2 or 3 times in your career. Right? Don't panic. You guys are all getting degrees. You will be okay. All right? You will have your, some of you are going to be like, shit, I wasted 4 or 5 or 8 years. Okay? You didn't. Right? If you actually graduate med school and you don't enjoy being a doctor, guess what? I'm going to hire you still. Because you put in work. You finished something. Did a good job. All right? Maybe you're a better hospital administrator. Right? But you went through it all. Okay? So, sometimes you're going to have to figure out, is it me or is it what I'm willing to do, or do I really need to make a change? Does that answer your question? That is the question. It's the question the rest of your lives, right? Do I like what I'm doing? You ever heard this phrase, do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life? You ever heard that? Bullshit. Bullshit. I love what I do. It's an honor and a privilege to get to teach. The grading is killing me. I teach way too many classes. Okay? It's stressful. It's a grind. I got to prep. I love what I do. Right? So the dream job can happen. You will like it. There's going to be things you don't like, and you'll still grind it out. Okay? Nothing's going to be perfect. Never is. Okay? What else, Matthew?
I have a question back on your dream job versus like small company when you make that decision. So in my other ethics class, they talked about you going after.
Are you cheating on me?
Had to take. They talked about you've been going after your like dream job for a while.
Yep.
Haven't been calling you back or anything. You finally decided to take a job with another company, and you've taken that job, but now the other company comes to you and now we want you.
Yes.
You just started, or you're about to start. What do you do?
This is something that's really. Who's you have a job lined up? Are there other companies you're talking to or anything? Okay. This is something really common for you guys about to graduate, and the funniest shit to me ever is you go to your buddies. You guys are like, hey, I have 2 job offers. One's a little more money, but the other one's the dream company, or whatever, okay? This is fairly common for you guys. Stop asking your friends. They don't know anything. Okay? They're trying to get their job, all right? Now, you can talk to your friends, but please, for the love of God, talk to your professors. Talk to people in the industry. Ask if you can talk to other people that work there, right? Are there some Aggies that work there? I just want to pick their brain a little bit and learn more about the company. Get the outside perspective as best you can, not just your peers, Okay, they don't really give a shit. They're trying to get their own job. Okay, really. I mean, they haven't been there yet. It's not that you can't talk to your buddies, but they haven't been through it. Talk to people who've been through it. Once you make the decision, live with it. Live with it. You're going to have to make decisions about your career, your spouse's career. Who wants to have a family? Okay, you're going to have to make those decisions in your life. Sometimes you're going to choose your career over your family. Sometimes you're going to pass up on moving for your family. Okay? You have to live with the decision. Don't be resentful. It's hard. You might. Don't hold it against them. If you chose your family, if you chose your career, you have to live with that decision. Right? This is a hard thing. I've been through it. We chose my career. We moved beforehand. Once we chose my wife's career, you have to live with that decision. I have a friend who was making $500,000 a year for many, many years. He was a vice president. He was killing it. He was making a boatload of money. He traveled all the time. And when his kids were almost done with high school, his wife said, "The only thing I can say about you as a father is you're a good provider." That hurts, right? Here I am trying to provide for you as a family and make good money. And she's like, "Yeah, it's great, but the one vacation a year doesn't make up for the time you miss." So he literally left that job, took a much lower paying job. He had money saved up. He was financially fine. But even though it was late in the game for the kids, he chose the career to try to be around more, right? And took a massive pay cut. Good question. What else? Yes, sir.
You know, kind of going off that one, I mean, how much is it all about the money?
It's interesting you bring that up. Okay, so my buddies, Nolan met him. I had 4 buddies down here for the game. They all make a lot more money than I do. Really. One's a lawyer. One's been with the same company since we graduated, which is really rare. It's been 20-something years. Makes a boatload of money. The other guy makes so much, he's actually a .75 employee. He's not a full-time employee because he can do that, right? And still make a great living. The other guy, married, dual income, no kids. And him and his wife make good money, no kids, right? So they don't have the same expenses. I make less, but I also work like 25% less. So you got to figure out that balance. If I want to make more money, I'd go work in industry. I mean, my buddy wants me to come work with him in oil and gas. I'd make way more money. I wouldn't have my summers off when my kids are little. And I don't get like a whole summer, but I get like 6 weeks. We bought a travel trailer a couple years ago and took a trip as a family, right? I'll never get that back, right? The last 2 summers we haven't been able to. COVID hit, and then Air Force messed me up last summer. So you have to find that balance. You have to find that balance. And don't, for you guys that love working, some of you love it. You're hardworking and you bury yourselves in work. That's great. Don't waste your whole life doing that. If you plan to have a family, work hard while you're young. Go out there for 5, 7, 10 years, bust your ass, make your money. And then take your foot off the gas maybe and settle down. It's up to you. It's how you're wired. And what's crazy, what you can't believe is how much your partner, spouse, whatever, will be the opposite of you. Right? It's the weirdest shit ever that you can love someone who's so completely different. But it's helped me a lot. I trust people. That's burned me multiple times. My wife doesn't trust anybody. Burn her multiple times. But it's helped me learn that sometimes people are assholes and they're gonna screw you over. That's something that's helped me. What else?
What do you think the hardest adjustment is post-undergraduate?
Leaving school?
Yeah.
For you guys, they're fine. Alexander's fine. You guys are screwed. Some of you have a real hard time. I don't know if you've struggled with this, man. When you leave the Corps, some of you are like, you complained about it for 4 years. And you're like, shit, nobody's making me do the thing anymore. There's no structure, and I don't just walk into a place where they hand me food. You struggling a little bit?
Yeah,
terrible, isn't it? You've complained about Dunkin' for 4 years.
You can't pull out of bed, walk to Dunkin' anymore. You gotta figure your shit out.
God, it's terrible. I'm out of Pop-Tarts. I gotta go to H-E-B, right? Okay? Some of you genuinely struggle with that, okay? And a lot of you join, most of you are DNC, you join for the discipline and the structure, right? So it's up to you. It's up to you. You're like, oh, all I have to do is work. It'll be so easy and life is great. That shit doesn't stop. It never stops, okay? You don't have homework, but you still do. So yeah, just be able to adjust to that life after the core. And if you ever are like, literally, some of you will get depressed. I'm not kidding. Man, call a buddy. Hang in there. Call me. All right, I got a couch you can sleep on, but just don't give up. You'll be just fine. You guys are good kids, most of you, not Connor. What else can I tell you? What are we worried about? What do we want to do? Sam.
Looking back financially, like what do you recommend us do as like early on in our careers to set us up later in life for like retirement?
If you've had me before, you may have heard me mention it. Has anybody heard FU money?
Yeah.
Fuck you money. If you pay yourself first, if you save money, you're ahead of most everybody in this country. I know some of you might have some student debt when you graduate and all that good stuff. Pay it off as soon as you can. Get out of debt as soon as you can. Put your money away. Some of you are gonna get. As a football player, Chad Johnson, if you remember, he played for the Bengals. He went to Oregon State for 1 year. He's a JUCO guy, right? Hard life growing up in Miami. Was a great athlete. Barely got through. Just tough childhood and everything. Gets his first big contract. It's $8 million. Goes and buys a $6 million house and like 20 cars. Couldn't fill up the gas tank. Literally has to go back to the organization, beg to restructure his contract. Who's in power now? He's not. Fortunately, played long enough to get to that second contract, learn how to manage your money and all that good stuff. Put money away. If you can do that, you're ahead of most people. Just pay yourself. And I don't care if it doesn't have to be a lot, but if you can live for 3 to 6 months and walk out of your job at some point because you are upset, then you're in great shape. So put your money away as best you can. What else? It's up to you guys. Connor.
Well, that classic question, if you could go back and tell your younger self, a couple of things, what do you think you would go back to?
I mean, I feel like I cover a lot of this over the course of Psalms courses. The hard thing is knowing when to pick the battle. Younger me would pick the battle that was either unwinnable or I should just shut the fuck up. That's hard, especially when you're right. Even if you're right, you can't win sometimes. So those were hard lessons to learn, and just being able to do that is really hard. Most of you a lot of you struggle with confidence in the core. You're not alone if you lack confidence. A lot of you are very confident, right? It can be a real problem. I'm a confident dude for no reason, okay? But people would label me as arrogant, and that really upset me. But that's how they viewed me, and I had to work on that. It wasn't them. I can't make a supervisor change necessarily. I can try, but I have to be the accommodating one. And if you're a strong-willed, confident person, that can be a really tough pill to swallow, right? To be honest, to do it all over again, man, I don't know. It took me a long time to get here to get a PhD. I never thought I'd have a PhD. It's just work ethic and being stubborn to get to where I want to go. And now I absolutely love my life. I love it. So just don't give up. Don't give up. Good question. What else? 20-something years. Yeah, 20-something years. I graduated undergrad. Who's like peacing out from school? Can't wait to be done. Right? That was me. Okay, done, never going back, right? It's the best time of your life. Just wait. You don't believe me right now. And other people may have told you this. You don't believe them either. 3 years. God, you're like, God, it was awesome. College was great. Okay, 5, 10 years from now, you'll be like, oh, it's so fun. I missed the core. Believe it or not. Okay. Some of you genuinely won't. Okay. But a lot of you really will. It's pretty awesome. But I found myself working in higher education. I thought, well, I better get a master's. And I went back to school and absolutely loved it. It was a maturity thing for me. I was heavily involved as an undergrad. I was the mascot. I was Benny the Beaver. You're damn right. Okay, wore the costume. Was awesome. I was in a play. I wrote for a paper. I had a radio show. I was in a fraternity. I enjoyed life and did it all. Was a mediocre student. Right. As you get further in your major, hopefully you like it more. It gets better. That's what happened for me. But when I went back to get my master's 10 years later, I loved it. Right. And then I came to A&M and I thought, well, shit, I'll try and get a PhD. Maybe I can actually teach one day. Because sitting in undergrad class, don't forget your question. Sitting in class as an undergrad, I remember the class. I remember the day, the room, everything. I was like, I can teach better than this guy. And it wasn't that he was dumb. He was incredibly knowledgeable. He couldn't connect. He couldn't make us care, right? You've seen them. You've seen the professors. They're super smart, right? And you're sitting in class bored out of your mind, right? You're supposed to learn it, not engaging. I was like, I can do this better than him. But I never thought I would have the credentials to do it. So I worked hard at it to be better. What do you got?
Was your master's the same degree as your?
No, totally different.
So do you think that's why you enjoy it more? Is because you had the experience to kind of know that that was something you were much more passionate about, so you enjoyed the class a lot more?
I was gonna get an MBA, and then it was a Master's of Science in Entrepreneurship, which was similar, but a little different. And I was doing fundraising, and I thought it would make more sense to connect with entrepreneurs because a lot of them have a lot of money. I just enjoyed learning again and seeing how it would benefit me in my career. I'm like, okay, I got a master's. It helps hireability and pay and all that good stuff. And I thought, well, shit, I'm only one step away from getting to do what I want to do. Yeah, for you engineer types, getting an MBA is awesome. All right. If you're in business, then yeah, challenge yourself to get a master's in something else, a specialty or whatever, or career field you want to go into. Right? You get a finance degree, but you want to be a game warden. Well, go get a master's in wildlife and fisheries. But yeah, you got a little time to figure that out. Some of you, not in this class, who's thinking about grad school? Anybody? Okay. Couple ways to look at it. Go straight through. You're used to living on no money, right, and all that stuff, and and get that master's and go. You're in school mode. You probably have to take an admissions test or whatever. Go ahead and knock it out. If you don't want to, go work for a while, and you might find a company that'll pay for it. All right. You may find you want a master's in something totally different, and that's a good thing to know too. What else? Connor.
This is something that's true, but are there any habits that you know you had or think that we may have while we're young that because we're young we don't realize the negative effects of it, but over these next 10 years and then once we hit 30, all those compounded, you know, actions are just gonna hit all at once and you're just gonna be like, damn, I really should not have been doing that for the last 10 years. For example, eating 3 Egg McMuffins every morning for breakfast because your body can just burn through it. And then you wake up one day and your body's just covered in it.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, but like
Yeah.
more work.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a really good question. When I was young, because I looked extremely young, right? Some of you have I love when people are on campus. They're like, they all look 12. Right? And it's true, when you get a little older, all of you look 12. Okay? Some of you don't, but a lot of you do. Okay? I wanted people to take me seriously. And so, like, Friday was jeans day. I never wore jeans. I never wore jeans. I wanted people to take me seriously because I was young. So people say, whatever, dress for the job you want. My philosophy is dress how you want people to see you. Right? So when I was young, I was trying to compensate for that, and I think that helped. The bad habits, I touched on it. Learning that you may have to change. You're the young person. You're the new person. You may have all the knowledge, really. All right? You may know exactly what you're doing in the career field. You know a lot about it. You just went through school. Hopefully you got the latest and greatest information. All right? But the dude with no degree has been working there 30 years. he still knows more than you, right? So you got to adjust to that. But yeah, don't give up on your habits, the good habits you have. Don't quit PTing. It is the only thing we know about mental health that is truly beneficial is exercise. It doesn't have to be a lot. You don't have to do it at 5:30 in the morning anymore if you don't want to. Don't give up on physical exercise and taking care of your body, especially for you workaholics. You guys that love, you're young, I'll put in 15 hours a day. That's awesome. Don't go to the bar for 2 hours and get up and do it all over again the next day. You're going to do it, but you better have some PT in there. Listen, the last 2 weeks in a row, I went to the Mizzou game, and my buddies were here for this game. I am dragging ass. I'm too old for 2 weekends in a row, Friday and Saturday, going hard all day. Okay? Had a great time. It's great. It's fun. The funniest shit ever is like in a few years, you're going to come back, and you're going to party with your buddies, and then you're going to be hungover still on like Monday or Tuesday. Right, exactly, 100%. And that was when you're young, okay? So imagine adding 5 years onto that, and you're not going to want to admit it, and you're going to call your buddies and be like, dude, are you still hungover? Yes, I thought I was the only one. No, you're going to be hurting because you get old. It happens quick. So, yeah, take care of your bodies, for sure, yeah. And as you start making a little more money, eat good food. Eat nutritious food. Entrepreneurs will tell you that. Things are good, you're eating steak, salad, right? Good to go, nice bottle of wine. When you're broke, you're eating top ramen and hot dogs, okay? Nothing wrong with those, just hang in there. Good, what else? Sam?
Did you ever make a budget for yourself when you first started, or like kind of later on in your career, like help you like manage money?
Yes, there's a few good things. There's an app called YNAB. You Need a Budget. It's an app that'll help you. A spreadsheet, literally just knowing your bills, what's coming and going. Yeah, definitely. Anything you need to work on discipline. If you're thinking you're going to start making money and go spending it, then you be aware of that. Okay? At the same time, if you're socking money away, man, it's okay to treat yourself once in a while, right? Yeah, again, fiscal responsibility, best freedom you can have. It's the best freedom you can have, because then you can go to the other company, right? I got some money stocked away, and you might get a job at the dream company, and they're going to offer you less money. So you got to make that decision. You're like, okay, well, I've saved up a little bit. I can weather this storm. So, yeah, definitely try to do that. There's a couple there's apps that'll help you. There's a couple easy books to read. You know, I'm sure there's podcasts. I know there's podcasts. If you're worried about money, then do your own work. Yes, sir.
Is relocation one of the hardest things to go through?
It is for Texans. Who does not want to leave here? It's not going anywhere. Okay? Texas will always be here. It'll always be the greatest place in the world. Okay? Be willing to go if the company is offering. You can always come home. Alexander and I were talking before class, okay? Left his home country to come here, right? There is opportunity in that. And guess what? You might like it a little bit.
No.
There's no public land. Who hunts and fishes? This is a terrible place to hunt and fish. There's deer leases and private land only. There's states where you can just walk for miles wherever you want, shoot whatever you see. It's awesome. Okay? I missed that. So it is hard. Moving is hard, especially when you have a family. When you're young and able, by all means do it. Try it. Go have fun. Learn that Texas is great. Or that it's really flat and it's hot as shit in the summer. Okay?
That's two best traits.
There's a comedian, he's from Florida or whatever, and he's like, yeah, that's why I live in a place that skips the shitty seasons. Okay, fair enough, right? Some people are like that. This ginger skin is not made for summers here, okay? What else? Was it, did I cut you off? Okay, yeah. Relocation with families, I've moved across the country multiple times. It's a pain in the ass. It's really hard with kids. We moved here right before my oldest about to start kindergarten. So we'll get them through high school. But was anybody a military brat? Move around a lot? Yeah. There's good and bad with it. You can develop great skills from going into a new school and making new friends. But it's hard. It's hard. Again, that comes back to the family decisions you gotta make. Good question. What else? What are we worried about?
What's something that when you move that you've done that you think you
Oh my God, don't cut corners. Like, get the right moving company. It's very expensive to move. They're all a sham. Take the big companies. It costs a lot. I mean, it's tens of thousands of dollars to move a house, the stuff in your house. While you're young and you can load up everything in a car, it's awesome. Live that way as long as you can. That's what you're gonna contract, right? So yeah, having minimal stuff and get moved around. They'll do it for you. The military will do it for you. Shit's gonna get broke. Still not gonna go great. But by all means, don't cut corners. If you gotta spend the money, spend the money. Yeah. What else?
Is it the same way with air travel?
What do you mean?
Like, don't get the shitty plane.
Don't fly on Spirit? Is that what you're asking?
Hey, that is a fantastic company.
Well, that's like a temporary thing. Moving is like your actual stuff, you know?
Well,
3 hours of temporary discomfort versus your entire house items being destroyed. I don't think it compares.
With a family, moving is one of the most stressful life events. It is right there at the top for everybody, even if it goes smoothly. It's hard for the friends, it's hard for the new place. We went from Oregon to Florida, okay? Florida to Montana, Montana to Texas, okay? We went all over, very different places. Everybody, the people in Florida were like, oh my God, you're gonna freeze to death, or they were insanely jealous because they knew it was beautiful up there. And same thing when I was coming here, like, oh, it's hot and flat, you're gonna miss the mountains. Yeah, I do, but the people are great. So this is an amazing country. A lot of it has a lot to offer.
Are you guys gonna be moving once your kids are out of high school around here?
I have no idea. If anything, and that's more about just personal preference. I don't know if this helps you guys, but we'd probably split time. I don't really want to be here in the summer. So we'd probably head to the Northwest and stuff like that. Montana, Texans love Colorado. Fully retired, like ideally I'd be like on a lake here. And then, you know, head up to the mountains and stuff during the summer. But we don't know yet. But we don't, some people who have, a friend of ours, they have one kid, they plan on following their kid. I'm like, we're not doing that shit. Wherever they go is where because you don't know where they're gonna go. So if you follow them, you might like that place, and then they go somewhere else that you don't like. We're doing our own thing. We want to support kids, be around them, but wherever they go is fine with us. What else? Patrick.
We're just curious, what was Montana like?
Heaven. Heaven on earth.
How?
It's a lot like Texas, actually, except we have mountains and it's beautiful, and public land, but it's ag and energy. So it's very similar. The people in the South are like outgoingly friendly, like come at you friendly, come stay in my house kind of thing. People up there are very friendly. It's just not as outgoing. And honestly, the only difference in who loves college football? I love it. Look, there's nothing like a game at A&M. Honest to God. Been to games all over this country. By the way, my boys love the band. They were like, we've heard a lot of things. They better be good. Okay, you guys killed it on Saturday. And they literally kept saying to them, we were third deck too, so they were like, wow, this is awesome. I kept saying it. It's just the scale. Like I went to football games in Montana, the rivalry. It was 15 degrees outside. Okay, but no wind, no humidity. I've been colder in Texas than I have been in Montana. Okay? We have a flyover. It's awesome. It's just not 100,000. It's 30,000. It's still awesome. It's just the scale. It was heaven. I really didn't want to leave, and I love Texas. My mom's from here. Been all over, but I really didn't want to leave Montana. I told them no for like 6 months. I told A&M no for like 6 months. It's like I've been all over Texas. I've never been to A&M. So I'm not coming to Texas. And then they're like, just come visit. And I came, saw A&M, and I'm like, shit, we're moving to Texas. What do you got? Bozeman. So not far from Yellowstone. It's in the southwest corner. I could take my daughter skiing 20 minutes door to door. We're on the mountain. It's heaven. Heaven on earth. I love to hunt, fish, all that. Not a lot of people. The rule in Montana, and this is kind of similar really anywhere, so maybe good advice. The rule in Montana, if you move there, because especially now, telecommute, people can work anywhere. If you move to Montana, they want you to shut up for 5 years.
Yes.
They don't care what you did in Chicago or LA or Dallas, okay? You came to Montana, you can shut up and learn how we do things. After you've been here 5 years, then you can have an opinion. Right? I feel Texans are similar. Okay. What else?
Oh, another curiosity question, but Montana has the highest number of Colts per capita. You ever run into those people?
Colts?
Colts.
No, that we've got some militias. I did not run into Colts. There are more cattle and guns per capita than people. Montana's a big state. Texas is huge. Montana's like the fourth largest state. So it's a big. The further west you go, the bigger the states get. Look, it's a big, beautiful country. There's great parts, and there's great people everywhere. Honest to goodness, you can go to New York City, meet great people. Right? Most people are pretty awesome. They're different. Okay, they're gonna make fun of the way you talk. You're gonna make fun of the way they talk. Most people are pretty cool. What else? Yes, sir.
Are you still running for school board?
Yes, I am. Yeah, if you're registered to vote here, please go vote. I can't tell you who to vote for, of course. I would be campaigning. But yes, please go vote. It's an awful experience, running for office. Alexander and I were talking about it before class. That's a different thing. We'll save that for another day.
Where can we vote?
On campus.
Where?
In MSC, I think.
Well, like when too?
Early voting is going on right now, and then election day is a week from today. So you can go vote right now. Yeah. What else? Yes, sir.
What do you have to do in terms of your job to make ready for like a family?
Good question. Okay. Some of you are going to want financial security before you have kids. Some of you are like, we're going to get married and have kids, we'll figure it out, right? There's no right or wrong answer. Really, it's up to you and how you want to do it. Some of you will, if you want to have more money saved up, sometimes people will keep going. And then you're a little older when you have kids. Kids are fucking exhausting. Call your parents and tell them you're sorry. Even Brent is a wonderful kid. Okay, you guys are good kids, to bet, for the most part. It was still hard as hell. So being young and being in that game is key. But you're also still learning. You have to be ready to take care of other people. Because even if you're just married, just with your partner or whatever, it's basically you're independent. You're good. You got jobs. Everything's fine. You have a child. It's ridiculous. Okay, this week I have gymnastics, cheerleading, softball, all on the same night. While I have to, yes, you guys want to complain about going to a volleyball game? Get out of here, okay? While campaigning, while having to have a normal life, okay, all of those things. You can take on a lot. I had my family when I was going through grad school. There's a lot you can take on. It's literally beneficial being in the Corps, right? But you can take on a lot. There's 24 usable hours in a day. Good question. What else? Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Brent, yes, finally.
How do you decide between two offers?
2 offers? You got to make one and live with it. One thing you guys can absolutely do is ask to talk to other people in the company. Recruiters in particular, military otherwise, tell you whatever you want to hear. More often than not. I don't trust most recruiters in anything. Ask to talk to other people in the company. You can either ask for a little more time. Some of them will put ultimatums, like, hey, we need to know by Friday. And you're like, okay, well, I can't answer you by then. You're going to have to live with the consequence. They might say, okay, we're going to move on. Ask to talk to other people in the company. Do as much research as you can. Ask for things in writing, military in particular. There are no guarantees. Ask for things in writing. If they're telling you over the phone what the offer is, at least get an email, right? You'll have to weigh through it, but don't regret the decision. You can always change. You can work there for a while and realize you don't like it and try again. Okay? Don't burn bridges. Don't close doors. Be very, if you let them down easy. Okay? Good question. What else?
Any good investment plans?
Learn how to invest. Learn how to invest. It doesn't take a lot. If you don't know anything about it, just pick a stock of something you're interested in and just follow it for a while. Learn how to invest. Look, $50 a month. It's 20. Okay, start with something small and see how it goes. I didn't really do my own until COVID hit. and it was, I made money with it, and I'm an amateur, huh? When things tank, if you have money, you're in good shape. And I got extra money because the Air Force activated me, and I finally had my own money to play with, right? I've got buddies who, one of the guys who was here, he's made millions in Bitcoin. Not even kidding. He was on it early, and he's made a boatload of money. Okay? So just learn how. A couple easy books, podcasts, start small, just figure out where you're comfortable. But you can take a little more risk when you're younger. Good question. What else? And there's different ways. Real estate, you know, is phenomenal.
This has to do a little more on the military side. How do the reserves work with you also having your normal job and everything?
If you're like an airline pilot in particular, it's pretty easy. For me, so there are laws that protect you if you are in the Guard or reserves. Most companies will give you, you know, the 2 weeks a year you have to work. They'll cover you for that. After that, they may choose not to pay you, which they don't always have to, and things like that. So be very upfront with your employer. Let them know what's going on. If an employer treats you like crap because you're in the military, probably not going to end well for them. They may threaten you, oh, you can't leave. You're like, well, actually, by law, I can. Again, don't have to pay you, but they most of the time have to hold your position. Airlines are usually great. It's called mill leave, and you're like, oh, I'm on orders. I'll see you in 6 months. But communicate with your employers. Just let them know, right? And know what you're getting into. Right? Let them know. Kyle, you good? What else? A few minutes left. Sam.
Would you recommend taking benefits that are given to you for different jobs?
Oh, healthcare benefits? Yeah, absolutely. For you when you're single, it's usually dirt cheap. It won't cost you a lot. When you have a family, holy shit, it's usually a lot. One of the best benefits for me is the Guard. I get my benefits. I pay out of pocket like a couple $100 a month. If I was doing it through A&M, it would be like $1,000 a month out of my pocket. Cover the family. So there are real benefits and stuff like that. Learn a little bit about it. Ask the HR employee. But yeah, absolutely take the healthcare benefits and all that good stuff. And keep in mind when they hire you, they're offering you 50, right? You really cost them about 100. It's usually about double. So don't dismiss the salary. You're like, well, I'm worth more than that. They're giving you more than that, all right? Whether it's stock or healthcare benefits, all that stuff, it's usually about double of what you're being paid. So don't discount that. What else? Fam, anything? No, you good? Got a job? Just checking. He's a silent killer. I figured he had it all worked out. What do you got, Connor?
I got one last question.
Yep.
At what point do you know it's just time to just cut your losses, sell everything, and move to Thailand?
Man, I know a couple people who've done it. None of them have regretted the experience. It's where you are in life. Some of them, I knew a couple that they were active duty military together, room and board's covered, saved all their pennies, took a trip for like a year, all over the world. Phenomenal. Another couple I know, they did it later. They didn't have any kids. They made some money for a while, sold everything, put their shit in a storage unit, peaced out. Nobody regretted it. Okay, just be sure you can. Financially, be sure you can. Yeah, it's outstanding. It's a big world out there. Go enjoy it. Anything else? Quickly. Was this helpful? You didn't need to hear it?
No, I did not.
Go do it, man. You get one trip, right? We get one chance at life. And I mean it. That's why this is hard. You get one shot at life. Make the most of it. Kick ass. Enjoy it. Raise a family. All of these things are noble. All of them. Right? It's what you make it, literally. Okay? Was this helpful? We learn anything? All right. I hope so. Go be awesome. Have a wonderful week.